Hello everyone and welcome to another Recapped Annie's video. Today we will be talking about reincarnated as a sword. Fran and her teacher, the sword, decide to become adventurers to earn money and acquire room and board. Fran helps an adventurer ambushed by goblins, who helps her reach Alessa town. The teacher gives a narration about Fran's background and her desire to evolve, even though those of the Black Cat tribe have never been able to evolve. After finishing a pack of goblins off, Fran uses water magic to clean herself off, and then clean the teacher off from the goblin blood stains. Fran hears something and rushes to the scene despite teacher's plea to learn what the problem is before going. Upon arriving at the guild, the pair are asked to take a combat test to qualify to be guild members. This is where the sole major fight scene occurs and where the episode peaks. In terms of entertainment and engagement, Fran uses both attacks and spells to down her opponent through another beautifully animated combat scene. It makes up for its crisp visual effects and a consistently fantastic soundtrack that only seemed to get going during fight scenes. Now, Fran has the plan to make their dreams come true, and given that she will have the magic sword with her, there is a good chance that she will be successful. The odd couple comes upon an adventurer by the name of Randall who is being attacked by goblins and is doing his best to defend himself. Despite this, Fran decides to assist Randall in the fight. She determines that because the job immediately strikes her as exciting, she would work as quickly as possible to get her guild card. On the other hand, when they arrive in Alessa, the magic sword is taken aback by the large number of weapons that have superior statistics. At the guild, the receptionist Nell struggles to keep up the facade of a smiling receptionist while dealing with the boorish behavior of the adventurers there. Fran then approaches Nell and asks to register as an adventurer. Internally, Nell believes Fran to be unfit to be an adventurer, but still allows her to take the mock fight exam. Afterward, Fran, accompanied by Donadrand, meets with the guildmaster Klimt in his office. Klimt tries to learn from Fran where she discovered her sword skills and spells, but following the teacher's advice, refuses to answer. Understanding, Klimt tries to use Identify on Fran, however, it's negated due to teacher's Identify protection. Curious to know if she failed, Klimt assures Fran that she has passed as the spirits are calm. Once that is settled, Nell hands Fran her guild card, and back at the receptionist's desk, Fran turns in some of her monster materials to earn herself a profit of 195k gold. As Fran tries to leave, a quartet of adventurers try to extort money from Fran, but Nell intervenes and disparages the group. One of the adventurers disparages Fran as being from the Black Cat tribe, which triggers her and makes her slice off the adventurer's feet. She then takes out the remaining adventurers with oscillation. Once that was done, Fran leaves the guild, but a dwarf uses Godsight on teacher to deduce that he was an intelligence weapon. Fran and the sword are looking for proper armor for Fran after securing their position in the Adventurers Guild. They luckily meet a world-renowned blacksmith dwarf named Garrus. As Fran with teacher on her back explore the stalls around Alessa seeking equipment, they're approached by Garrus, who suggests they visit his shop for some equipment. The teacher casts Identify on Garrus to learn his name, stats, and skills, and is impressed by them. A curious Fran then asks Garrus why he'd refuse to do business with the two scornful men and yet do it with her. Garrus then claims he was impressed with how she handled the men in the guild and would happily conduct business with her. In Garrus' shop, Fran tries on the equipment that Garrus offers her, and the teacher is impressed by their stats boosts and skills. Surprised that Fran would want to see his swords, Garrus then reveals that he knows teacher is an intelligent weapon. Alerted by this, Fran takes a sidestep backward as the teacher tries to deduce how Garrus was privy to his identity. To that point, Garrus notes that although it has higher ATK power than teachers, he then mentions that teacher probably doesn't know about mana conductivity to demonstrate the difference between the two. Garrus retrieves the sword with 450 ATK from the wall and asks that Fran unravel. Teacher, endow him with 100 mana points and attack the sword. However, the teacher has no clue who may have forged him and asks if Garrus God I could elaborate. On the other hand, Garrus details that someone of Garrus' smithing capability couldn't forge him. However, he notes that perhaps a godsmith could. Garrus then details the history of a godsmith and how they can forge swords called divine swords, of which teacher is that one. Furthermore, Garrus explains that the only divine sword he's ever seen was called Ignis. Thankful for what Garrus has told him thus far, the teacher requests that Garrus create a sheath for him with the monster material he's collected. Hence, Fran purchases a bunch of cooking supplies from the shop, and after they find an inn to stay at for the night, the teacher makes fried chicken for Fran. Once Fran finished her dinner and was dressed in her pajamas, the teacher allocated his EP to healing magic before they went to bed to be better prepared for the battles ahead of them. Unbeknownst to them, a horde of goblins emerged from a cave. The following day, Fran and teacher find some heelgrass in a local forest used as an ingredient in potions. They then find a fruit used to cure poison, and then some stamina mushrooms, which are good for cooking. Fran then hears the voices of adventurers in trouble and heads to their location and finds the adventurers Lily, Krull, and Eustace surrounded by 13 goblins. Arriving at the scene, the teacher spots that some of the goblins are hobgoblins. Hence, Fran decides to rush in and assist the adventurers and defeats 3 of them with a fire spell. So both Fran and teacher, respectively, cast Stone Arrow and Stone Bullet against the goblins, taking out a few of them in the first volley. Fran then defeats a couple of the goblins with double slash, and teacher uses Stone Bullet against one, allowing Fran to level up to 4. She then finishes all of the goblins with teacher's Stone Bullet and heavy slash. After the explanation, a single goblin signals its comrades and teacher takes it out with a Stone Bullet. With more goblins on the way, Fran has the adventurers return to Alessa to warn them about the upcoming goblin stampede as she deals with the incoming goblins. In doing so, Fran levels up to 8, and despite being surrounded and outnumbered by the goblins, she refuses to give in to them. Teacher realizes the inadequacy in their strength. However, although Fran acknowledges they're weak, she wants to become stronger by mastering teacher better. Just then, 2 goblins attack them, and Fran kills them with a single slash. Surrounded by more goblins, Fran prepares to attack them while vowing to become stronger. Fran takes him upon herself to fight the goblins near their dungeon and ends up killing well over 100 of them. Unfortunately, on the day of the battle, things suddenly take a turn for the worse. After realizing that there are a lot of goblins in the jungle near the dungeon, Fran starts killing all of them by herself without expecting any form of assistance from others. The teacher realizes the inadequacy in their strength. However, although Fran acknowledges they're weak, she wants to become stronger by mastering teacher better. Just then, 2 goblins attack them, and Fran kills them with a single slash. From there on out, Fran uses teacher to slay goblins until dusk. By accomplishing this, Fran levels up to 12. That night, Fran and teacher visit Garrus's shop, and Garrus comments on how worn out looking Fran is and learns that she slew over 100 goblins. They're soon approached by Krull, Lily, Eustace, and a couple of other adventurers. Fran points out the goblin hideout to the group, and a dwarven adventurer claims that the hideout didn't exist a month ago and believes it to be a recently formed dungeon. Later, Fran relays the news to Garrus, who repairs her armor with the help of 4 mana crystals on a table. Once Fran is all set and ready to leave after putting on her armor, Garrus tells teacher the custom-made scabbard he requested will be ready the next day. Back at the inn, the teacher checks Fran's stats and learns she earned herself a new title, Goblin Killer. Fran then insists that they take a bath together, and despite teacher's protests, they do. After Fran washes herself off, she proceeds to clean teacher until Nell, accompanied by 2 other women, stops Fran and notes how bringing her sword into the bathing area is terrible etiquette. Nell vents to Fran about her disapproval of the Knights Brigade's refusal to assist in the goblin hunt, making the adventurers handle the entire situation. She then mentions that the Knight's lieutenant, a nobleman named Alsand, hates adventurers and is the one who turns down the request for assistance for the upcoming goblin quest. Nell then claims that she wishes Amanda was there to help and goes on to explain her full name and title, but is unable to help due to taking on another quest in the Great Wolf Plains. After this, the former god tried to subjugate the other gods, but failed and was defeated, with several of his severed parts spread and sealed across the land. The parts that weren't filled transformed into monsters like goblins or orcs. The teacher finds the information to be insightful, but Fran's head can't handle the influx of information that she received. Hence, the teacher returns Fran to her room and allows her to sleep for the rest of the night. The following day, Fran and the teacher visit Garrus' shop, giving them the custom scabbard that teacher requested. Wasting no time, the teacher gets right into the sheath and is exhilarated by it. Afterward, Fran and teacher join up with the adventurers tasked with the goblin dungeon subjugation, led by Donadrand, who reviews the objective tasks of the mission. Amid this, a swarm of goblins exit out of the dungeon. With a clear pathway, Fran and teacher head inside the cave, where deep inside it, the dungeon master gloats about how the ambush he orchestrated has the humans in a tizzy. As the dungeon master laughs, a shadowy figure floats beside him. Fran then notices that a massive number of goblins are crammed at the entrance. The teacher sees this as an opportunity and uses flame magic flare blast to get rid of almost all of them. She then heads inside the dungeon on her own, leaving the remaining goblins to other adventurers. OUTRO. Did you enjoy this recap? If you did, please like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can bring you the recap of the next episodes. Until next time, do take care and stay safe.